Hey guys, welcome back to the BuzWeaver channel. And in our top stories today, of no surprise, from the post-millennial, breaking, Trump blast case, judge after day one of jury deliberations. Nobody knows what the crime is. And it seems clear to any rational, cogent person that Judge Merchan is making up the rules as he goes along. And the problem with this is that the jury depends on the judge to make distinctions for them. They aren't the legal expert. He is, and the attorneys. And when he's making these very confusing, very unorthodox type decisions and demands, and the way he's framing things, the jury becomes confused because they're supposed to be basing their decision on the evidence and the facts, which haven't been demonstrated at any point. It's been a show trial the whole time. I mean, Stormy Daniels being there, Cohen went there and basically incriminated himself on any number of different counts. And then, of course, the exchange that happened there with Robert Costello. So the jury is confused about what's even going on, which illustrates perfectly that this is a complete, absurd, unnecessary case that should be happening here. This is purely political. Following day one of jury deliberations in District Attorney Alvin Bragg's falsified business document trial, Donald Trump addressed the media, noting that nobody seems to know exactly what the crime in question is. He also took aim at Juan Merchan, saying he should drop the case to save the judge's reputation. The jury was dismissed around 4 p.m. after failing to reach a verdict on the 34 felony count leveled against the former president. The jurors also asked to rehear the judge's instructions and portions of testimony from David Pecker and Michael Cohen. The jury is set to reconvene on Thursday at 9:30 a.m. And the reason they're requesting that is because Judge Merchan has not made it clear. He has not made the distinctions of where the guilt lies or what the evidence is that implicates Donald Trump. That's what's so extraordinary. And here's what's confusing them. It's extraordinary. So from Simon, Judge Juan Merchan just instructed the jury that they do not need unanimity to convict and do not need to agree on what specifically occurred. That's absolutely amazing. That is counter to what the whole entire process is for. It is to find unanimous distinctions of fact. He said that the prosecution's broad approach is due to the absence of direct evidence that Donald Trump personally recorded the material in question. That's absolutely correct. They're making this very expansive, CNN legal analyst said, because they don't have direct evidence that Donald Trump actually recorded that. It's just absolutely phenomenal. She said, even if he himself did not falsify the business record, as long as they mentioned in the closing argument, if he made or caused the false entry. That's absolutely the level of interpretation, like we have seen so much with this guilt by association. Donald Trump himself wouldn't even have, it's extraordinary. So they're saying that Donald Trump wouldn't even have to even be in a room in the same state. As long as someone associated with Trump did something illegal, then it's Trump's fault. It's absolutely mind-boggling and extraordinary. But the fact that there was no verdict today does play in Trump's favor because naturally the left, the hard left, the Trump detractors, the media, and the establishment, not necessarily the establishment, but the hard left and Trump detractors were expecting a guilty verdict immediately, and it didn't happen. And this is exactly why, because Judge Merchan is not conducting a courtroom. Judge Merchan is conducting a Banana Republic show trial. And so the jury is like very confused because they're like looking for, okay, where's the evidence? Where is someone saying Trump did this, Trump did that, and Trump did the other? They're going so far as to say, well, anybody who was in Trump's orbit, associated with Trump, connecting the dots to Trump, if they did something, then it was Donald Trump's fault. It's absolute. How does any rational person come to a conclusion that Donald Trump or anyone should be guilty of something based on what someone else did without that person's knowledge? It's absolutely extraordinary. From Politico, it's not just guilty or not guilty. Here are all the possible outcomes of the Trump trial. Well, it's not really. Now, they're trying to rationalize all this, right? Closing arguments are scheduled for Tuesday, as we already know. Trump is charged with 34 counts of felony falsification of business records. Those records, prosecutors allege, were made in connection with a scheme to mask the true source of former Trump fixer Michael Cohen's. And we already know that Cohen stole from Trump. We already know that Cohen took out a loan on his own without anyone's knowledge, a key lock loan so that his wife wouldn't even know. So, again, we go back. How would Trump be found guilty when he's not even aware of what's going on? Michael Cohen's wife wasn't even aware of what he was doing, but yet they're trying to say guilt by association is sufficient evidence to implicate Trump. It's absolutely phenomenal. From the jurors to find Trump guilty on all 34 counts, they must find beyond a reasonable doubt not only that Trump falsified or caused the falsification of business records with intent to defraud, but also that he did so with the intent to commit or conceal another crime. There's nothing there to say that. And Merchan is trying to say that if they can find even an association, a hint, a hearsay to it, they could potentially do it. And according to him, it doesn't need unanimity. One person in the juror could say, I think maybe he's guilty here, and Judge Merchan will accept it. It's absolutely unheard of. Conviction on some counts, acquittal on others. So though 34 of the felony counts were brought in connection with the same general set of allegations, each of the counts concerns a separate business record. It doesn't matter. This is irrelevant here because we already know that Michael Cohen stole the money, and Trump can appeal any of this. Acquittal on all counts. There are a number of ways the jury could come to the decision that Trump is not guilty on all 34 counts. Of course they can, because there's no evidence. They don't have it. They don't have Exhibit A, Exhibit B, Exhibit C, Exhibit D to say, okay, Exhibit B, clearly he did something. Exhibit D, clearly he did something. They don't even have that. They don't even have the an accurate testimony that associates Trump to what they're saying. And then, of course, we have a hung jury, which apparently, if you don't allow for it to be anonymous, you're not dealing in unanimity, then it's not going to be a hung jury, because the judge is looking for anybody in that juror, any of the jurors, to say something for him. And it's extraordinary. And not only that, Biden campaign preps for a Trump trial verdict. So they're already prepping, right? Here's Biden, the political rival of Donald Trump, prepping to give a presser, to give some sort of press conference or other based upon the verdict. Now, of course, I'm stretching it a little bit here, but that's what I was hearing from the media is they were prepared to jump on whatever they could find, any morsel, because we can clearly see now, as we saw with Robert De Niro standing outside of the courtroom, because they actually had a presser outside the courtroom, even though they had the wrong date on the presser pamphlet, which was funny. But they're outside. Why are they outside the courtroom? They're outside the courtroom. It should be perfectly clear. They're trying to jump on this because all eyes are right there. And here's what's extraordinary. And it's hard to find all this stuff. Let me tell you guys, it is hard to find this information doing searches. I spend most of my time just trying to find the search to justify what I'm saying here. Judge's daughter raised over $100 million off Trump prosecution for Dem election campaign. The judge's daughter. The former chief counsel of the state Senate Judiciary Committee alleged that the daughter of alleged of judge overseeing Donald Trump's criminal trial in New York has raised nearly $100 million for Democrats, including President Biden and Vice President Harris. It's extraordinary. The judge's daughter works as a consultant for a prominent Democrat fundraising firm, and her financial interests are tied to the success of candidates and causes opposed to Trump. Absolutely amazing to think that this is going on. And as I've said before, if Americans can't see what's going on here right now, then we're in big trouble come November. I would welcome your thoughts and opinions down below. Do you guys, maybe who don't follow so much of this as much as I do, can you guys see that it is clear that there's a level of persecution against Donald Trump? It should be obvious to everyone. And the support he's getting in New York is damaging to the Democrats and, of course, the support overall. But nonetheless, guys, I want to thank all of you across New Tech as well as here on YouTube for your guys' continued support. Appearing there on the screen, that would be the channel icon. You guys can click on that to subscribe, as well as to select notifications. That way you know when there's content here on the channel. And I'll see all you guys in the next video.